Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Expanded View, episode 12, today on October the 19th, 2020. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your co-host, Laura Canfield, along with
Kimberly Crow. And I'm lost on Facebook right now. I'm like looking for us so I can share it.
Oh, don't worry. I'll do it first and then you can do it after if you want. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, how's it going, everyone? What's going on? What's going on? Yes.
What's going on with you? You know what's coming up for me today is empaths and cutting cords. So there's been a lot of people are feeling really corded and empathic right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, or that it's getting to them. What's your view on cutting cords? I want to have a cutting cord discussion.
Well, I have two different views. I mean, yes, you can cut cords, but really it is also about looking at your relationships, What are you like? You still have to work out what that relationship issue is or whatever happens to be. You still have to be aware of what's going on. It's not just blindly cutting cords.
See, that's exactly how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's something from, I don't know who created cutting cords. I started thinking about that and I thought, I don't know the origination of that. Who began that and how has that been parroted and repeated and repeated and repeated through different modalities? Because for me, from the get-go, I just had this I don't know who was the first person. It's been too many years ago, that mentioned cutting cords.
Mm-hmm.
But I distinctly remember knowing that it was just like cutting this and this. It's like a plant that you're going to root and you just cut it, but then you never root it, like you never replant it. And it was just this, I felt like it was this energy out there like this, waiting to cord into something else. And it was about healing the aspect, it's like, and I have this that you can't be corded or hooked unless you allow it yourself. And of course, we don't realize we're allowing it because there's some wounded aspect that doesn't know it's given its power away.
Mm-hmm.
And that I close the access points. I know you've heard me say that before, and Spirit just told me to do that. It's like after the cord healing happens and you connect to the one that's got enmeshed and work with that, and then in the energy field, I close that access point and seal it. Right. Now, does that mean that they can't reopen it? I've worked on clients and done all of that work and saw them just like pop it right back open and go right back to it as soon as, because they weren't complete with it yet.
Mm-hmm. And because sometimes it can be a pattern of behavior, it's something that they do over and over again. So in order for them to, change that, they have to consciously choose something different. They have to take different actions. It's not just, that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes it's not just energy work. You have to do the work here in the 3D world too. You have to think differently. You have to act differently. You have to choose differently. It's, the energy work is going to clear it for a little while, but then it depends on how then you function afterwards.
Right. You have to take the action and then the accountability to it, to yourself.
Yeah.
It's like accountability to yourself and what that energy is, and that part that if it keeps occurring, then there's some part within that doesn't know itself or can't feel its own significance without that energy there, mm-hmm. Like it's been there for so long that it's familiar.
Yeah. And what's familiar is safe, right?
Right. That there's an illusion that it's safe.
Yeah.
That somewhere it's protecting you.
Exactly.
Or it's how you survived. I mean, sometimes it's how you survived to get to the next moment.
Yeah, and so that was fine at that time, at that point. But now, like it's always about reevaluating what's going on now. Like, what are you going through now? What are you experiencing now? What do you need and require now? Right. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the tools that we needed in the past, we may not need anymore.
Right. Because I was lots of times when I'm witnessing this with a client, it is the narcissist and the empath energy. You know, it is the two of those, that lots of times that and it, you know, that maybe the child is the empath and the parent or whoever that was around them was the narcissist, and they have to empath the energy constantly to know that they're safe. It's like if you're out there in front and you're always empathing everything around you, then that's how you learn how to be safe, you know, if you know all of it first. But that eventually exhausts your adrenals. And I just feel
and
like
that's why so many people have had adrenal fatigue, right?
I think so. I think it has a big part to do with it in society. And right now there's just, you know, so much, especially, you know, you're in another country, but here in the States with all of the stuff that we've got going on right now, with everything that's just going on out there. And when it's everywhere, people not sure and not knowing what truth is, and, you know, trying to discern and be ahead of the energy. And it's that part of, well, when is that energy got you, is it you're running from? You know?
Yeah.
Right. So that's come up a couple times today for me. And right before we got on here, I was looking at some things about the empath and about the energy of that and how that begins. I know a long time ago, Spirit was showing me when I was doing hands-on work with like people with fibromyalgia, that and for them to say always, and you know, that's a big thing, that it's always this pattern, because I never hardly, you know, I think there's always exceptions to everything, but they told me this is always what happens in this. And it was that that people with that pattern that has been labeled as a disease pattern, you know, and then there was a time when it wasn't a label and people were telling them that this didn't exist, and they were in pain all the time, and they knew they were in pain. And I actually was given a whole like protocol and a way to work in the energy field. And it was going back to the first wound, whatever that was, whether even a physical scar on the body, you know, and it was something that wasn't nurtured at the time. And then that hole was in the aura and the energy just kept on. And they showed me how people with that diagnosis were all empaths. And that what had happened was that it looked like their energy field looked like when you take a sweater off and it's reversed. It was like it was reversed, and then all of that pain was going in because they knew they were here to impact the world's pain, and they didn't want to release it out and hurt anybody. And there was this, you know, there was this energy that was going back and forth with that. And so they just kept taking it in and taking it in. And so I always thought that was really interesting.
But now I think the paradigm has changed now, that we don't require to take it in ourselves. You know, like we can help and heal and clear and all that wonderful stuff, but we don't have to take on any of those energies ourselves.
Exactly. And maybe it was necessary at the time that it was in humanity. I don't know if it was ever necessary, but you know, maybe it was, but we're not in that anymore. You know, we're not in that energy, and that's that whole being your sovereign self and being your, you know, with that and
choosing, you know, what's right for you. Yes, we all want to help. Yes, we all want to be of service. Yes, but not at our expense. And that's the thing that we have to get, that in this time and day and, you know, time frame, we don't have to do everything at our expense. We don't have to suffer. We don't have to, you know, be less than or anything like that, you know? So yes, we can serve and we can help and we can be of assistance and support, but not at our expense. We've done that enough in the past. You know,
exactly.
So
those, a new time.
It's a new time that's not required anymore. Now it's about us choosing what is right for us. I mean, sure, we can still choose. Yeah, I still want to do that. Okay, fine, that's your choice, but it's not a requirement. It's not the way it has to be, right? And that, I think, is what a lot of us have to get in our heads. Is like, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Now you get to choose. Yes, you can still heal, clear, transmute, etc., but you don't have to take it on yourself.
Exactly.
right? And that's a choice that you have to make.
I don't know if we ever had to, but for some reason humanity believed it had
Yeah, I mean, I know
I
did.
What in it form that was. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I did. And then at one point I got to the point where it's like, that's enough. I'm not taking it on anymore. You know, so I had to make that conscious choice to say no more. I'm not taking it on anymore. I have no problem doing the healing work, doing this and that. I love to. I love it, but I'm not taking it on anymore because it was affecting me, right? It was affecting my health and
right.
my
quality
your energy
of life. Out. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it's like no. So that's
we're not supposed to have to recover from it.
No.
I know a long time ago when that just innate shamanic ability was there, you know, yeah. and there was that with that you transmitted the energy yeah. through you, yeah. and it just happened. And when I asked about it one time, about that happening, about the energy going through me, because I was sending it to the light, and I was the biggest light in the room, so it was going through my body and out the top of my crown, and then back to the light. And I got this message that I had chose to feel their pain so that I would know it was real and I would have compassion. Yeah. And that it kept me in, you know, if I felt their pain, then I felt the compassion, you know, for it. And it's, you know, I was like, there's got to be another way to do this. Okay, I get it. I chose it. I chose to do this way, but let's do something different.
Yeah, now I can choose something different.
Exactly. Know? And so I just, if that does happen, then I just go, okay, I get it. And then I release it. It's like, I got it. I got the information. I know where this is at in their body. And it did make me a good detective, you know, being able to go straight to it. But then it's like, I go, okay, I feel it. That's it. I need it. I got it. I got the information, and I don't have to stay in it.
Yeah.
You know, so I can utilize it in that way.
You can still send it to the light, but, you know, send it to source, or source's light or something, you know, apart from you, you know, like separate from you. Right. So, and that's the thing. I think in the past, you know, I used to feel all sorts of things in my body because that was one way for me to know that something was happening, something was shifting, something was changing. Right. Now it's like, I just, no, I don't need that anymore. Now it's just a knowing, you know, it's like knowing that, yeah, everything that I'm saying is happening. Everything that I'm channeling is happening. Like, it doesn't have to be at my effect, right?
Yeah, I call that like those are the paths of initiation, and that some of us go through this path of initiation. Yeah, you know, and then after you do it, you don't have to keep doing it. That's when you all of a sudden realize, I don't have to keep doing this.
I don't have to do this anymore. Way. It doesn't serve me, because we at the time we were putting everybody else's needs ahead of ours. You know, like we were putting ourselves last and putting everybody else ahead of ourselves. Now it's about me and everybody else at the same time. So including yourself in the equation, including yourself in the formula, right? So that you're not left behind, and you're not, you know, being exposed, even is the word I'm getting, to all those energies and so on. No, because you are just as valuable and worthy as everybody else.
Exactly.
Right. And I think that's something that most of us healers, light workers are learning, is that we are just as worthy and valuable as our clients, as our communities. Right. Yes. And so do the work. Absolutely. Because that's what you came here to do, but also serve your needs. What are your needs? What do you require as well? Put yourself first, or at least at the same, you know, if not first, then at least at the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. Show compassion to yourself. Yeah. How many times are we actually showing that compassion to ourselves?
Not as much as we require, that's for sure. Yeah. So good. So it's really interesting. I mean, I do cord cutting as well, right? So it's like we all do it, right? And people ask for it, you know, but they have to get that, you know, it's more than just about cutting cords. It's also about changing your way of being, changing your behaviors, changing your actions, changing how you think and feel as well. It's not, sorry, just about cutting the cords. And that's, you know, unfortunately,
cords. Cut this cord.
Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of, I don't know, some light workers, I don't think talk about that part, that we still have to do the work, you know, like, yes, you know, you can cut the cords, but then what, you know, then you still have to look at your reactions, your interactions, your relationships, and change them. Like, consciously, actively change them as well. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that I'm not sure how effective that cord cutting is going to be. And then people wonder why this keeps happening. Why is the pattern still there? Well, have you changed anything?
Right. If they're still going back to, I'm going to use the word toxic, back to a toxic environment, or even in how you connect to the energies. If you stay in that pattern, because how many times have we experienced that the people are asking us the same exact question, but then they go right back to whatever it is, and they don't make any changes with it. And when you make those changes within yourself, it does stop some of those other patterns. It's like it's like it doesn't keep existing in the way that it does, even if you stay in. If it's a relationship, in family, whatever it is, if you stay in that, then you will start, witnessing changes with it, because you're no longer allowing that to go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are you choosing, right? What are you choosing for yourself?
Right now, Alice is choosing to try to play with my cord here. When I used to do animal stuff a lot too, I thought at the beginning, that's what I wanted to do, was animals and not people.
There's much safer.
And then I found out that the animals would tell me, well, I'm doing this because I need to for my person. And then when I would try to have a discussion with the people that their animals, either behavior pattern or their disease pattern was something to do with them, they didn't want to work on their self. They just wanted you to work on their animal for them, because they cared so much about their animal, but they didn't want to go into that area of their self. And maybe that's changed too, because it's not my first modality now. But at one time, I was doing a lot more animal stuff than now. What are you doing, sweetheart? I have not been spending the night here. I'm house setting my daughter's dogs. So when I'm home now, Alice is like, she's very needy right now.
Yeah, of course, understandable. I was gonna say that I think now more and more people are starting to do work on themselves as well as with their pets, which is awesome, because like, let's face it, we don't really want our pets to take on our stuff. I mean, that's I said that at the very beginning when I first got Neo. I said, Neo, I do not want you to take on my stuff. I will deal with my own stuff. You do not have to take on any of my stuff, because I don't want him to suffer because of me, right? So it's like, I will deal with my own stuff. I will work on my own stuff. But I know a lot, there are obviously a lot more people working on their stuff, healing their stuff, clearing their stuff, which is great, which is awesome. So then the pets don't have to take it on for us,
When I had a poodle whose name was Prince, and when I had my office downstairs, a healing room, and I was living in this house here. And so he hung out and worked with me every day, and he would want to get on the people. And when we first got him, his papers hadn't come yet. And my daughter actually named him Casey. And then by the time his papers had came, she changed his name to Prince. And anyway, he was born on Edgar Casey's birthday. Okay. He was a Pisces. He was born on Edgar Casey's birthday. And so it was funny, because then my clients we called him like Prince, we were calling him Prince Casey or whatever, because we knew who he was. And it was a big joke, because he came to all of my circles and meditation stuff, and he went around and he would get in everybody's lap, and he conked out and fell asleep as soon as it started. I mean, out. And then he would like get up. And so he was like, the sleeping prophet is living here. It's like, I know where Edgar Casey is. He's working with me every day. And so anyway, somebody asked me one time, well, aren't you afraid he's going to take on everybody's stuff? And he showed me that how his crown, his third eye, and his heart were not separate. It wasn't like like humans individuated chakras. His was all one, like it was like a lava lamp, between them.
Right.
And And he would get up on clients, because like the first time he like jumped up on the table with somebody, because he had a chair and I would tell him to sit in it, but then he would want to get on clients. And he would lay on them exactly where something was, and it would, and they would feel it, a connection to stuff. And he actually even worked as a surrogate for their own animals that had crossed over. He would like allow them to come into him, and then they would connect to their animal. They would have their own thing that was going on between him and whatever was happening.
Right.
And but when he would get off of the table after the client section, he would be out too. He would be like totally out on them, asleep. And he would get up, and it would take him a second, to get grounded. And then he would go outside, and he would run in circles as fast as he could. He would run around the yard just as fast as he could, making little vortexes. And I always knew that he was releasing the energy.
Nice.
He didn't keep it. It's like he ran outside and ran just as fast as he could. And then he would come back. And it was like, okay, so awesome. Even their pets are different, and then who they are and the modality they are. And I had Edgar Cayce more than once come up out of him and give me messages. And he was like, I am working through him. He is who you think he is. Mm-hmm. He's an aspect of me is working through him, so I can witness this in this realm. And it was really interesting. And then there was a couple times that I was at, I was up at Lilydale once, that's where this Spiritualism church is. There's one there, and then somewhere else. Oh, down in Florida at Casadega. And the mediums gave me messages that said, Edgar Cayce said to tell you. And it was like just really clear, that it's like he wanted you to know that this is happening and blah, 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 blah. And it was in those kind of things that you're just in the audience, and then they're like, they point you out and say, I have a message for you. It was that type of thing. So it was interesting
that's cool.
that he did work in that level. Yeah. And then when I would hit the road, he would stay at my parents' house when I was traveling. And my dad got so attached to him, and the dog was a lap dog. He wanted to be with people all day long. It wouldn't be fair to him for him not to, be in that place.
Yeah.
So he stayed at my parents, and my dad's dog died, and I couldn't take my dog away from my dad. And so because he sat there with dad all day long watching football games or whatever it is that they do. Mm-hmm. And there was more than once that he took all my parents' stuff. Mm. And I knew that's what he was doing. It was like he took on some prostate things and some stuff like that. And that's what he was doing. And when I would talk to him, it was like, that was his role then, his little healer role that he had done all of those years working beside me. Then he, that now he was working with my parents. Mm. And it's like, that's what he wanted to be doing. And it was like, I've retired here. I'm with your dad, and this is what I'm doing.
That was his choice, right? It
was his choice. He didn't want it any different, because when I came back here, I was wanting to, bring him back home with me. And it didn't feel fair to either one of them to do that at that point.
Right.
And he what did he cross over? Last year or the year before? It's not been that long ago. Well, I've just been back 3 years. So sometime in that time period. And he was like maybe 15 or something, 14, 15, something like that. But yeah, I got him in a pet store, and I was so against that. I mean, like on my soapbox, totally against stuff like that. And my daughter wanted a dog on her 15th birthday. So she's 29 now. So yeah, he lived, it was last year, I think he left. So anyway, we went and we looked at some other stuff, and then she wanted to go in that pet store. We stopped and got there was an ice cream place beside it, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And I was saying all of this stuff. I was rude to the people in the pet store, and I saw him and I fell in love with him. Mm-hmm. And then we didn't get him that day, and I couldn't quit thinking about him. And I went back in there because he was 12 weeks old, and he had lived in one of those puppy pens. Mm-hmm. They'd had him from the time he was 6 weeks old. And I had a bunch of judgment around that. but, and the whole thing. Yeah. And so I picked him up and I was walking around with him and I held him up against my solar plexus and I asked, was he, is this like the highest and best thing to do? And I fell so far forward with it that I like knocked the shelf down of stuff. It was such a reaction. That was a
big yes. Yeah.
I know. And then he told me later that was him being in that pet store for 6 weeks in that puppy pen out front. It was part of his initiation and his assignment because he was around so many people. Mm-hmm. And that, and then he knew where he was going and that was, he was there to do the work that he was. And that I couldn't understand why nobody had bought him yet.
Yeah.
It was like,
because he was meant for you.
He was waiting. He was waiting. And when I was standing there, because I was trying to talk her into a rescue dog, and my daughter looked up at me with her big brown eyes and his big brown eyes, and she was like, "Mommy, he needs to be rescued just as much as a rescue dog does. You need to get him out of here."
Oh my goodness.
And I know. Right. And then for a day or two, I sat with it, and I got this surprise check that I wasn't expecting in the mail. It was a big sum. It was over a tree that had fell in my yard, and the insurance guy had came, and I didn't expect this. And it came, and I was like, "You're getting a dog," And we went back, and he had even been marked down. And I always, because I used to show dogs. I used to show golden retrievers. I won the national specialty, all of this stuff. And it's like when I would connect to people, and they would be like, "So what are you doing now?" And it's like, I got a discount dog from a pet shop. A discount poodle from the pet store.
It's okay. He needed to be with you.
He did. It was his journey, and that's what he came back in as to do. And there was no mistake that he was born on Edgar Casey's birthday.
And that's like Neo. I mean, like we found him at the shelter. We weren't expecting to find a small dog. My husband took me there to show me the big dogs because he's like, if I take her to the shelter, they can be all big dogs. She's not going to want a big dog and blah, blah, blah. And there was this one little dog that they hadn't even put up on the website yet,
Yeah.
And it's like, how did we get so lucky? And I keep saying that. It's like he was meant for us because I had requested support from the divine a couple of months before. And then lo and behold, he was 4 months old, and he was found on the road somewhere, didn't have a chip, which is like, how did that happen?
Right.
And nobody claimed him, for 3 weeks. He was at the shelter. Nobody claimed him. Nobody said, "Oh, we lost our puppy." Nothing. And so it's like, it was a miracle, and I always say, he's like just so wonderful, so amazing. And he loves sitting with me when I'm meditating. He loves sitting with me when I'm doing my healing calls and my shows. He just loves it. He's
holding the energy. Prince definitely showed, when he showed me those chakras that way, he told me he was like Palladian, and that was the realm that he came from, and then when Edgar Casey would come in, he would show me how he was an aspect of that, and that how he was working in the way that he did. And so they're just like humans. They're not at the same initiation point that all humans are at either. Different animals are in different ways. And then he told me he preferred to come in canine because because of what he was going to learn to take back, and that how he and actually the dog taught me how to astral travel, because I tried to put him in a crate and work on the clients, and he threw a fit. And so I
don't blame him.
I was below him, I was in the basement and he was right up above me, and we put the crate in Kelsey's bedroom. And that did not work. He could hear me, and he was throwing a fit. And
he had a personality. So he wanted to be with you.
I started splitting out and going and being with him and comforting him while I was working on clients at the same time. And then that was like, okay, he's teaching you how to astral travel, how to bilocate, basically, to be in two places at the same time. And then I just started bragging. I was like, this is what this dog wants to do. He wants to be down here. This is his role. And that's just the way it's going to be. And so, and he did his role.
So this is a message for everybody. Just, pay attention to, if you have pets, how did you get them? What happened? What do they like? What do they don't like? What do they not like? What makes them happy? And just listen to their clues, like listen
what
to
are
what
they
they're
teaching
saying.
you? Right. What are they there for? And what are they, what's the energy that they're bringing to your presence?
Yeah, exactly. Because they are. That's what's happening. They're bringing something for you, a gift for you, a blessing for you. Their presence, their peace, their calm. But sometimes for me, it was not even the peace and calm, but it was just like the changing the energy in the space, right? Changing the energy in the space, changing my energy, right? So making me go out 3 times a day for a walk, which is really important. Getting that fresh, like believe me, those things may seem like trivial. It's like it may seem like a chore, like, oh, I gotta go walk the dog. No, it's like what's wonderful, because it's great for your body, great for your emotions, your mental body to do that, and it's like, like I always say, I'm so grateful. Neo has been such a gift, and we got so lucky. And my husband always laughs and says, I took her there to scare her, and we come back home with this cute puppy. How did this happen? He is so cute, and everybody loves him. Everybody who sees him thinks he's so cute. And
you busted through the matrix. It's like Neo was there waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, he's like, I don't know how this happened. Like, I do. Yep. It was divine intervention. It was divinely guided. Everything happened in just like in such a magical way, and it was the divine showing me how supported I am, because I asked for help and support, and boy, did I get it. It's like, yep, definitely. I can see the magic. I can see exactly how it happened. And it's like, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, exactly. And it can line up for you in that way, whatever that is. When I used to do some manifestation classes, and then like people would want to do soulmate stuff, and that would be one of the first things I would tell them: be Pacific, because if you just say, I want something that totally unconditionally loves me, don't be surprised if you get up the next morning and there's a 4-legged on your front porch.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, if that's what you call in, it's like, say, do you want it to be 2-legged, 4-legged? Because it may show up that way for you. When you walk outside, there it is.
And that's the same thing with my husband. When I found him, I had actually written out a few years before what I wanted, and it was just general, it wasn't anything like tall, dark, and handsome or anything like stupid like that. But it was more like, my next relationship that I want him to love me and respect me for who I am. I want him to love and respect my children. Those are the 2 big things: love me and respect me as I am, love and respect my children. That was, and then beyond that, it was like, make me laugh. He has to be funny. He has to cook, because I don't cook. Everybody knows that. He has to be financially successful himself, so not dependent on me, kind of thing. And I think basically those are the things, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about, what do you value, right? And so at that time, and still now, I valued someone who loved and respected me and my children. That was the biggest thing, because my kids were younger. Well,
right, exactly.
18 and 14 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But still, they're a big
part of it. Can be a challenge to integrate in with everything. Yeah.
And, they're always going to be my children. They're always going to be part of my life. And so, whoever I met had to accept them and have them be in our lives, right? So it's like, that was the most important part. And like, my husband, as you know, as I talk about him all the time, he is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Him and Neo, oh my God. And my kids, of course, oh my God. But it's like, he's such a wonderful man. And he's like so good to me, and he takes care of me, and he like looks out for me. And it's like, like I tell him one thing, and then he'll do whatever it takes to make that happen.
That's great.
If I say, oh, it's like, oh, that would be really nice to have that, or do that, or go there, or whatever. And sometimes I just say it flippantly, not thinking, right? But in the meantime, as I've said it, his mind's working. He's like figuring it out, thinking, but okay, how can I make this happen for her? How can I do this for her so that she's happy? It's like, I'm just like, wow. So it's like, I got lucky big time with him, with Neo, with my kids, with my parents. I mean, I'm just like, thanking God. Thank you, God. So it's like, I always used to say in the past, I must have done something really good in my past life, to have like such wonderful kids, but my husband kind of saying, I must have done something really good in my past life. But you know what? I also made wonderful choices in this lifetime.
Exactly. You work through your karma, and then you get to be in your dharma, It's like,
and making these choices that I'm choosing, this is what I want, this is what I want. This is how I want to be. This is what I want to experience, right? And not from a place of lack and scarcity and fear, but from a place of what feels expansive for me, what feels joyful for me, what feels light for me, right? Mm-hmm. And so, when we make these choices, now it's always about, my husband's still in his head a lot, right? But it's like, all right, I have to see how it feels. Let me just sink into it. I have to feel it. Does it feel good? Does it feel light? Does it feel expansive? How does it feel? It's not always about the logical choice. It's about, what lights you up, right?
Exactly.
So, that's what we have to, this is for all of us. This is what you have to look at. It's not always a logical choice, but it is a choice that makes you feel good. Okay. So, and from a place of, expansiveness, love, being empowered, right? Being supported, look at those kinds of things, not from a place of escaping something. No, what are you moving into? The greater aspect of you, the more joyful aspect of you, right? That's what you want to move into, not running away from that scarcity way back there. No, because, if you're trying to run away from that scarcity, it's going to continue chasing you.
Exactly. You'll keep making choices from that place.
Yeah, from fear and lack.
From around it, making the choices going around it.
That doesn't always work.
Yeah.
So trust me, it's like, I still sometimes do it and I catch myself like, oh yes, I see where I was coming from there. Okay, let me change that, right? So now it's about,
And that's important, because recognizing it and going, oh, okay, then what do I change here? Instead, what is it that this didn't quite work? So what is the new vision with it? How do what's the next part of that? And yeah,
exactly. And and sometimes it is about, it's like recognizing that, okay, right now my mental state, my emotional state is a little bit down. I'm feeling, I don't know, depressed or anxious or whatever. It's like, how can I change my energy?
Yeah.
Right? Because as soon as you change your energy, then your thoughts and feelings around that situation will also change. You'll start to have a bigger, brighter, broader perspective of it, right? And so earlier today, I was feeling a little bit down. I was feeling a little bit, I don't know.
I felt that way today
frustrated.
too. I was like, I couldn't get any movement going, or just like I was in this just void. The moon may be void all day today. I know there was a big chunk of it that was going to be that way this week. Then there's no reflection out, of energy. And I just was like, okay, I'm just like here, and where's the next thing? And where's something, the passion of direction to go.
Yeah, there was nothing like that this morning.
In between time. Yeah. I felt the same way today.
So what I did was I took Neo into my lap and snuggled with him and cuddled with him and told him, oh my God, I love you so much. You're so cute, blah, 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 blah. Right. And that shifted. And then an opening came up in whatever it was that I was doing. An opening came up. And now it's like, there's a whole new trajectory, in the works. Right. So it's like, but would I have found that if I had not changed my energy? Probably not.
Yeah.
Right. So you do have to look at your energy, and if you don't like it, change it. Right. So luckily for me, it's easy to change because I have Neo or my husband. It's easy for me to change. Or I could use essential oils and sprays, or I could meditate. I did that too, actually. I meditated. That helped too. Or, any number of things.
Dropping into your heart, it's like getting away from whatever that is.
Getting out of your head.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know if mine was just like, I was doing so much creation and creating, and then it just then everything leveled off. And I feel like, okay, where's the next creation? I don't even know where it's at.
Well,
yet.
Sometimes you do need a pause, right, between creations.
And I thought that, okay, you just need a pause, and the universe is going, it's time to pause before the next big comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's all good. So just remember that, everyone, that, if things aren't moving, things aren't changing, shifting, change your energy. Sometimes you do need a little bit of a pause, but change your energy and then see what happens, right? Continue to create, continue to choose, but just change your energy from that lack, frustration, annoyance space to something more, neutral at least. And then if you can be more expansive, awesome. Right.
I know I got really clear yesterday when I was leading in my own membership, the call, and that I needed more greens. I saw it. I saw spinach, and I knew I needed to juice, and that wants to go in my body, and I can feel it. You think I haven't done it yet? I got it really clear yesterday, and then I didn't do it again this morning. And I thought, okay, I'm getting these clear messages, and I'm not doing it. And that I can feel it. Talking about it, I can feel the vibrancy in it. And but I haven't done it
so yet. What would it take for you to do it now, right?
I know. It's like I haven't done it yet. And it's like, okay, yeah. It's like,
so that's another message for all of you. If you start to get some sort of intuitive hit about, oh, you know what, maybe I should have some greens, or maybe I should have a salad. Listen to your body. That's your body talking to you, telling you what it requires, right? Listen to it and do it. Do it. Listen to your body. It'll make a huge difference. I know that that it always works for me too. I try to listen to my body more often than not, and it's interesting what my body does want. So it's like, okay, cool. Sometimes it's these beautiful earrings. Can't see it, but these beautiful earrings and
beautiful earrings.
I know, and it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I get those. Sometimes it's food, sometimes it's something to wear, sometimes, whatever, but listen to your body, follow its knowing, its wisdom as well. It's working with you for your highest good. So, trust that.
It's funny. I'm smelling citronella right now, and there's no citronella anywhere around me. So it's like, okay, I'm going to put some citronella in the diffuser and juice the greens.
And juice the greens. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So this was awesome. We went all over the place, but such a wonderful call today. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah. So what are you empathing that it's not necessary? It's like that. Okay, I can lay this down. I don't have to feel this part of the world
anymore. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And focus a little bit on yourself. It's like, what do you need to let go of? And then as you're letting go of that, what are you going to choose differently in its place? So, we always talk a lot about letting go, but then you have to choose something else in its place because, that vacuum is there, right? So what are you going to choose in its place, right? So co-create with the universe, co-create with your body, and choose something different than before. All right. Awesome. Good. I'm off to do my membership call in just a few minutes.
Good for you.
It's such a busy time, right? But it's so much fun. So
exactly.
All right, everyone. So thank you. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always.
Thank you for being the gift that you are to humanity. Go be it.
Bye, everyone. See you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.